This is a review of Edge of Dead under a Uranium Sky, which is available now on Steam. Since that title is quite the mouthful, I will be simply referring to the game as Edge of Dead throughout this review. I want to start off and say, for transparency's sake, that I played through the game using an Xbox controller. I prefer this control method as it's more comfortable for me to use, and as a result of this, I think I ran into some issues that perhaps wouldn't have been a problem if I were using keyboard and mouse. My first issue right off the bat with this is the default control scheme felt awkward. You can remap the buttons, which I did change a few times before I really settled on something that felt best for me. So while it was an issue, it was easily solved by simply remapping the buttons into my comfort zone, so it's good that the option is there. Edge of Dead focuses almost entirely on gameplay, as there's very little story that plays out in the game. The core gameplay is a bullet hell overhead twin stick shooter where you'll find yourself battling through several different areas, each culminating in a boss fight. You'll traverse through a number of rooms in each area, which require you to clear all enemies in order to proceed. There's various weapons, consumable items, throwable items, and upgrades to acquire as you play through a run of the game. The opening is just a bit of text, and then you're thrown right into it. It's here where the problems with Edge of Dead start to rear their ugly head, as there's a lot of little things that detracted from my enjoyment throughout my time playing. Now there is a tutorial in the game, which can be found by entering the door at the top of the screen in the hub area, but seeing as it's telling you from the beginning to enter the vehicle, I did multiple runs before actually coming back and realizing there was a tutorial at all. It really should have you do the tutorial first before letting you begin a run for the first time. It's baffling that it's not that way already, to be honest. And that's going to be a common complaint I have throughout all aspects of the game. The first time user experience is sorely lacking. There's next to no information to be found explaining what anything does. What does this do? What are the symbols on the right side of the screen? They expect you to just know, and not everything is painfully obvious, so the result of that is just painful. Seriously, please take a second and look at all the information on the right side of the screen. This game is absolutely begging for an in-game manual to explain anything, really. Anything at all. Help us out here. Pretty much all of these things could be easily solved with some quality of life patches. So hopefully these will be things that get addressed by the developers if they're interested in improving the experience. And while I have a lot of small complaints to go over, I still couldn't help but have fun with the gunplay. No progress is saved between runs, so any upgrades you acquire, currency, etc. is all lost upon death. You also can't save in the middle of a run, so if you quit out of the game during a run, you'll start from the beginning when you come back. The only things you earn in this game are different starting character unlocks. So in terms of a sense of progression, there's none to be found here. You die, you lose it all. Nothing more, nothing less. There's plenty of cheap hits and cheap deaths you'll take as a result of some not so tight hitboxes and cheap enemy layouts since the levels are procedurally generated. This, compounded with next to no invincibility time between hits, means your health can be depleted very quickly. There's no information provided when you're looking at items in the shop. It doesn't tell you anything. When you have items in your inventory, you'll get a brief blurb of information on what it does, but it's important to know what something does before you buy it, you know? The currency system seems highly unbalanced, as you'll rarely have enough currency to purchase something you want. Items that drop from enemies disappear fairly quickly when they shouldn't disappear at all. If a medkit drops and I don't need it now, I should be able to come back later and pick it up. I just don't understand the reason behind making items disappear that you've clearly earned. It takes some strategy out of the gameplay, as your hand is forced by time, and it's very likely you'll miss things that you didn't see or drop something on accident and wish you could have it back. On top of things disappearing, health, armor, and ammo pickups are way too far on the rare side. This is such a problem, in fact, that while fighting a boss, I completely ran out of ammo and had no way to finish the fight. You can't drop your weapons and try meleeing with your fists, although even if you could, that more than likely would have resulted in my death anyways. No ammo is supplied during boss fights, so if you run out, you have no choice but either death or quitting and starting over. What an absolutely brutal and punishing way to get presumably to the end of the game and have no option but failure. It's just design choice after design choice that bogs down the amount of fun that you can have with this game. All of these little things just combine to make an experience that's overly frustrating and does not feel fair. It enhances the difficulty in a way that is not fun nor engaging. I found all these issues to make the game feel difficult and not in a way that made me want to keep playing to overcome the challenges, but to quit playing. And that's unfortunately the route I ended up taking after getting all the way to the end to what I presume is the final boss, just to have no option but failure because of an absolute mind-boggling decision to not give ammo during boss fights. Just blows my mind. There's a good base here if they decide to do some quality life patches, so it's not all bad. The pixel art and animations are really nice to look at. The music is pretty good. The core gunplay is fun with a variety of different weapons to use. There's both guns and melee weapons, but quite honestly, I didn't ever feel like a melee weapon was smart to take. Almost all of the enemies have projectile attacks, making melee weapons feel like a quick road to death. There's a variety of different characters to unlock and choose from to start your mission. You can also pick up and throw parts of the environment like furniture and explosive barrels. Every run feels unique with the procedurally generated levels. There's a decent variety of enemies and traps you'll encounter. The boss designs are really well done. I found that all of them were a lot of fun to fight, with the lone exception being the instance I previously mentioned where the boss was so tanky that I ran out of ammo and couldn't proceed. I did not experience any crashes or frame rate drops while playing Edge of Dead. With some improvements, this could be a fun game. If you're willing to look past a laundry list of small issues, then it's likely you'd be able to have some fun with Edge of Dead. But as it stands, it's hard to recommend in its current state. Thank you for watching this review all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, as I cover a lot of different indie games on my channel. Hopefully I'll see you on my next video, and I hope you have a good one.